Hello, my name is Victor Yeste. I'm a researcher and teacher of Polytechnic University of Valencia, and I'm presenting this paper, this research that is called Exploring Genre Classification of Movie Premieres in the United States of America with Twitter hashtag data that I have done with Ángeles Calduclosa, also a teacher and researcher from the Polytechnic University of Valencia. So, first of all, we have to talk about what is genres and what is the importance of movies, because movies may influence the decisions, lifestyle, and even political opinions of the viewers, and that's why to facilitate the choice of a movie to see, to watch from the viewers, movies are usually classified by one or more genres. And the task to assign a genre to a movie is really challenging. There are multiple ways of doing that, and has been researched in many papers. For example, they have been decomposed by the trailer into keyframes, the audio and video features from movie trailers, visual features and neural networks, the image features from the movie mass posters, and they have even classified the test of the plot summaries just to try to classify automatically the movie by some genres. In this case, genre classification has also been used to study online conversations about movies, and this is the case of this study. And there are multiple studies that have used Twitter hashtags, and the hashtags consist in a symbol that you are seeing in the screen, and the hashtag on itself, and the tag with the spaces. For example, Harry Potter without a space between Harry and Potter. This paper uses genre labeling to study if there are statistically significant differences between movie genres and the variables that we are going to study that are related to the movie and to the conversation, the use, the engagement, and the amplification rate of this movie, these official hashtags from the movies. For that, we are going to use the social media Twitter. The objectives of this study is, this study is an exploratory, non-experimental and quantitative study, and it follows it is a follow-up longitudinal and with an inductive inference type. The scope is the movies released in February 2022 in the United States of America. The object of the study is composed of two things: the movies and the tweets related to them in the week before, the same week, and the week after each premiere date. The main objective is to explore if genre classification is justified when studying movie data and the online conversation related to it. And the secondary objective is to explore if a genres of classification can be used according to the similarities of some genres in front of the others. In this case, we are going to use the classification form of action, adventure, and the others. The methodology is going to be composed in design and method of two objects of the study. I'm going to say again that they are the movies and the tweets that are related to them, and there is going to be a different data table for each of them, movies and tweets. There are 9 variables of study. For one place is movies with opening grosses, opening theaters, and rating average. And on the other hand, we have Twitter with the count of tweets, quotes, replies, retweets, and likes, and the sentiment mean of the text that is from each tweet that is related to each movie. Because genre is a multi-level factor, there has to be auxiliary tables, genres and movie genres, and that's mandatory to process the data with many-to-many relationships. Movie data has been extracted from Box Office Mojo website that is part of IMDb Pro. IMDb Pro is one of the biggest and more researchable movie database in the internet, and is owned by Amazon. Average rating of the movies has been collected from IMDb website on the 2nd of May 2022, and the Twitter-related data has been extracted on the 21st of March of 2002 from Twitter's API. API. For the statistical analysis, we have chosen to use pandas and seaborn Python libraries for in a Jupyter notebook. Two data frames have been generated. A generic one with data summary of each movie and the related data, and a data grouped by movie genre. For each variable, we have done a box plot and a one-way analysis variance that is called ANOVA from here and afterwards. And there's a classification that we have seen and we have chosen to explore is action, adventure, and others with the same approach. The results are the next one. In the United States of America, 36 movies were premiered in February 2022. For more than almost $5 million were the mean of opening grosses for each movie. Then the average of theaters in the week of the release were more than 1,000. And the movie with maximum opening grosses and opening theaters was Uncharted. The rating average mean of all the movies was 6.14/10. In the tweet, relating to the Twitter's summary, we have collected almost 400,000 tweets related to the movies that were published in total in the 3 weeks that the week before each release, the week of each release, and the week after each release, that was in February. The movie premieres have a mean of more than 10,000 tweets, almost more than 800 quotes, more than 2,300 replies, more than 1,500,000 retweets, and more than 31,000,000 of likes. And the sentiment analysis, the mean sentiment analysis was 0.39, when means 1 is absolute negative and 1 is absolute positive. The genre classification has been using 17 different genres that were present in the premieres of February 2022. You can see in this slide the list of them: action, adventure, biography, comedy, crime, documentary, drama, family, fantasy, history, horror, musical, mystery, romance, sci-fi, and thriller. The opening, we have studied the 9 variables that I have mentioned before. So I have put here some examples, 2 examples for each classification. In this case, the general classification, we have chosen to show the opening grosses, and there seems to be a big difference between genres such as action with a mean of 11.52 elevated to the 6th, and adventure with a mean of 17 elevated to the 6th, and others, but most of them are overlaid. But we can appreciate that action and adventure are a bit different from the others. When doing an ANOVA, and that is an analysis of variance, we have seen that the p-value is almost 0.70, and that's much bigger than the 0.05. That is the maximum that we can use to say that with a 95 level of confidence that there is a significant difference between genres movies in opening grosses, and this is not the case, as we can see really clearly. Taking into account another example like retweet count, we can see again that there is a really big difference between action and adventure genres and the others. But most of them are overlaid in the lowest of values. Sci-fi have a bit more, but action and adventure are much bigger than the others. The question is it enough to say to make a statistically significant difference between them? Well, yes. The p-value with the ANOVA was 0.04, that is less than the 0.05. that we're looking for. So there is an statistically significant difference between genre movies in retweet count, and we can say it with a 95% level of confidence. Well, as we have seen in the two examples, action adventure were really different from the others. So we have chosen to analyze them in a subclassification matter, that is action movies, action adventure movies, and the others. And with this new classification, we have 10 movies that have been tagged as action or adventure, and movies that are not tagged are 26. And with the same examples of variables for opening glosses, we can see that there is a difference between the ones that are action adventure genre, that is tagged as true, and the other genres that is false. Yes, it's much bigger, but they are obviously overlapped in the lowest values, and the p-value is not enough when we do the NOVA test. It's really close. We can say that there is a statistically significant difference between action adventure and non-action adventure movies in opening glosses with a 90% of level confidence, but because we have chosen to use the 95% of level confidence, that is 0.05, then 0.08 is greater, so there is no statistically significant difference in this case. But in the case of retweet count, that is another example of the 9 variables, there seems to be again a really big difference between the action adventure genre, and false, the other genres. They are obviously overlaid, but the action adventure genre is again really much bigger. But and doing the NOVA, we see that the p-value is in this case 0.007, and this is much less than 0.05. So yes, in this case there is a statistically significant difference between action adventure and non-action adventure movies in retweet count, with a 95% of confidence and even a 99% of confidence, because it is also less than 0.01. So yes, there is a really big statistically significant difference between them. So after studying all the variables, we can see that there are only two significant differences in an alpha level of 0.05, that is rating average and retweet count. So that in that case, it means that viewers rate and retweet content about movies are different depending on the genre. On the other hand, for action adventure superclassification, we can see that quote count, reply count, retweet count, and like count, the four counts of Twitter, have shown a significant statistically significant difference, with an alpha level of 0.05. So, and opening glosses, it was almost 0.1, as we have seen. So, Twitter users quote, reply, retweet, and like tweets significantly more if they are related to an action and adventure movie. The conclusion of this paper, this study, is that we have explored genre classification, and we can see that the opinion of viewers is affected by movie genres, and they feel differently motivated to share content, as in retweets, depending on them. And Twitter users engage significantly more with content related to an action adventure movie than when it is not an action and an adventure movie. So this increase in engagement, depending on movie genres, is really interesting, and it could be explored with more depth in a broader study that includes a longer span of time. And another appealing approach could be to study the relationship and trend analysis of variables depending on the genre and the country of production. For example, that is another variable that we haven't chosen in this case, but it could be really interesting to analyze in a similar matter. Also, it could be interesting to consider other social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram. And with all of that, I say thank you for all the viewers that are listening to this presentation. I'm Victor Yeste from the Polytechnic University of Valencia, and I have done this research with Ángeles Calduc-Losa from the same university. Thank you very much, and if you have any questions, please send the questions to us by email. Thank you very much.